The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Wow, what a battle here. They touch.
Little bump and run there from Chase Elliott.
Oh!
They're up and in the wall. Here comes Keselowski.
Wow.
And Kyle Busch. Oh my goodness.
Boy, Chase just sent it in there and got loose, took them both out.
Only at Bristol.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Those tires working for Keselowski and those leaders.
He's going to steal another one.
Yeah, he is.
2 Sundays in a row.
Great job.
Brad Keselowski wins Bristol. Can you believe it?
No, he wrecked me. I mean, he got loose underneath me. The part that's frustrating is afterwards a simple apology, like be a man, come up to someone and say, hey, like, my bad. But I had to force an apology, which to me is just childish. Passed him clean. It's hard racing at the end, I get that. It's hard racing. But golly, man, be a man and take the hit when you're done with it.
Welcome to episode 156 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Thursday, June 4th, 2020. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how's it going?
It's going, man. That was an awesome race at Bristol, eh?
Yeah, it was great. It was Bristol again.
It felt like Bristol. Bristol has been, since they started putting the PJ1 down in the inside, it has really come back into its own.
Yeah,
last few years.
It really has. And then we had the low downforce this weekend as well, which I think just helped even more. And it was good stuff. I think the whole race was good, but the ending definitely gave us what we're looking for at Bristol. That's for sure. Yeah,
this rules package, I think you and I were texting about it. It's 2 for 2 on the season. Phoenix was great, and this was great. So
I'm ready to bail on high downforce. Let's just be done with it.
Yeah.
We've talked about races that have been improved because of the high downforce package, but the problem with that, what I'm seeing so far, especially as these teams learn it more and more, is that it improves the races in parts, but it doesn't improve the race as a whole. So restarts are great. Yeah. The ending is excellent when there's several restarts at the end.
Yep. But
you just don't have it in the midway points. Once the race gets stretched out, it's still just as bad as it would have been without it. So I don't know. I mean, I think that was my argument before as I was looking through rose-colored glasses that, well, at least if the midpoint doesn't get any better, at least the restarts are better. But man, they still can't freaking pass the leader most of the time. So I don't know. Hopefully this new car, of course we got to wait another year for it, but hopefully the new car will improve the being able to pass people. I guess the thing that's really steered me this direction, James, is because there's been so much talk recently about the Xfinity package and how well that's worked at all the other tracks, how well it worked at Charlotte compared to the Cup package. And I mean, maybe that's the solution. Maybe we keep the reduced horsepower, but we don't do the high downforce package. We just go low downforce, low horsepower.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about drivability to me.
Right.
And we're gonna get an interesting look at it this week.
Yes.
With Atlanta, because it's gonna be hot and slick, and there's gonna be some drivability in there. But still, I feel like if we had high horsepower, low downforce, it would still lead to better racing. But we saw a pretty decent show at Darlington too, so I'm a little hopeful. But I agree with you 100%. We are, the stages, I think, put some blinders on with the package at times because we get a lot of restarts, and especially, if there's a lot, tends to be a lot of caution flags and stuff like that. I mean, it's, cautions breed for more exciting racing. I mean, heck, Bristol, I don't think we had green flag cycle on pit stops, and that rules package was fine with lots of restarts too. So, but that was just good, good overall racing.
I mean, I'll tell you, there was nothing more incredible than sitting at Chicagoland last year on the restarts and watching them go 4 wide through the turns, all bunched up with the package we have. I mean, that was awesome. But and I don't know. So I guess Chicago was a good race with the old package, but the new package still had a good race. Kentucky was better last year than it's been in a long time. I mean, I don't know, James.
Yeah, it's
That's
tough,
why I'm not
man.
making the decisions.
It's tough when you see good races, though. Like we've been seeing. We've seen some good stuff so far. But this Bristol race really, when you see it in action and you see short tracks, and we always say what hashtag, more short tracks, right? That's we always scream for more short tracks, and hopefully we'll get them over time. But this is just stock car racing. That's what it's all about. Beating and banging and close action, and I just I don't know. This was to use an old NASCAR saying, this was quintessential NASCAR racing over the weekend. Was what we saw. I really enjoyed it.
Right. So 2 questions on this. First of all, how awesome would it have been if this was the first race back? I mean, this would have hooked some people, man. This was a good one. If
this was the Wednesday night or, whatever, a night race on a Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. It would have been great. And, Jeff Gluck, shout out to him. Him and Jordan Bianchi were talking on their podcast. They had, Jeff's been hearing from first time watchers because there's nothing else on.
Yeah.
And, he's got people asking him, how come there's not more of this? We ask ourselves the same questions.
Speaking of Jeff, this race set the new record for was it a good race on the Jeff Gluck was it a good race poll.
Yep, the best one so far.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that, but it was a really good race.
Yeah, I think there's been better races, but I think, in the times we're in, there's a lot of stuff going on, and this was a nice distraction from everything and anything, and we got a good show as well. So I think that helps.
The only thing that could have made that battle better is if it would have been Chase Elliott and Kyle Busch versus Chase Elliott and Joey Logano. Although
sure,
Joey Logano is pretty close on the Kyle Busch hatred level.
He's a good foil. Yeah, he's definitely a good foil. Yeah.
So, one other question regarding Bristol is, so we got news this week, and we'll talk about it more in the news, that the All-Star race remains at Charlotte this year. There were rumors that it might get moved to Bristol. Does this make a case for moving the All-Star race to Bristol?
Well, if you've got this rules package and the things are set the way they are, I mean, I think next year I wouldn't hesitate. I'd make that move right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. The only nice thing about the All-Star race where it is that, it's close to the shops, so, the teams can come and be a part of it a little bit easier than at Bristol. Yeah. But Bristol's not that much further away. That's why we raced at Bristol.
Yep.
Bristol's an hour, a little over an hour from Charlotte, I think.
Yeah, and we're in the age of social distancing right now anyway, so I don't know. I mean, the extra hour drive to me doesn't seem
right.
As bad. And we've seen 2 Charlotte Oval races now already, whereas I'd love to see more Bristol.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, the All-Star races, I'm surprised NASCAR. I mean, NASCAR really is going to get this season in. I mean, they are hell bent on making it happen. So
hey, we're close. I mean, at this point, we were talking with Todd before we recorded the show tonight that, I mean, there's only with the schedule they announced today, there's only 2 extra races they have to get in before the playoffs. And we're good.
Yeah, and they're going to double. They're going to end up double headering. Michigan and tracks like that. So they're going to get them. They're going to get them in, and then we're going to have hopefully a normal playoffs. Depending on again, I think NASCAR is obviously staying fluid as well, but
right.
It's going to be. They've got it. I mean, they've kind of figured it out, and they're going to roll with it. And knock on wood, Eric, we have been healthy. Everybody's doing well. There's no reported cases so far, so all positive things. Cases in the country seem to also be dropping. So, there's even talk about fans coming back before too long. So, we're getting there. I think we're making little baby steps here and there. But yeah, this thing's happening, and it's gonna happen in full.
Yep, I agree. So before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about the Food City Presents the Supermarket Heroes 500. Thanks for putting that in the show notes, James.
Oh yeah.
Brad Keselowski gets the win, steals another one. I mean, right place at the right time, right?
Yeah. I actually, in the show notes when I was putting it in earlier, I only changed 2 words at the end. From when he won the Coke 600, his Brad Keselowski steals ... So, he got lucky. The horseshoe found its way into the 2 car here again. But heck, man, it's not like he lucked into it completely. He ran he led 115 laps on the day, which was second most. So he was there. I mean, he's in the right position. That's where you got to be.
Could you ask for much more in a contract year?
No, he's doing what he's supposed to. Yeah. And we were worried about him,
Yeah.
with the cruise chief swap and everything, but that team seems to be doing just fine. Brad's, he's as good as anybody else in the as a driver right now. So, yeah, they're gonna be fine. He's definitely proving his worth for that. That's for sure.
Yep. I have to say probably the biggest disappointment on the day has to be Ryan Blaney. Came home with a 40th place finish after spinning and getting taken out by Ty Dillon on the front stretch. Yeah. But Blaney had the car, man. He was there. He was running.
Yeah. Well, we had talked last week on the pod about the Penske cars. They're going to be good. They're going to be tough.
Yeah.
The only one that was surprising was DiBenedetto I don't know what happened. Was never really a factor. But
he had a mechanical issue, didn't he?
Yeah, he was struggling. Yeah, they were struggling all day.
I think something broke on the car, and I don't remember what it was.
He ended up about almost 50 laps down, so he was never a factor with that whole situation he was dealing with. But yeah, Blaney was pretty good. He led 60 laps. Logano probably had it won. So I mean, the Penske cars were trickled throughout the top 5 almost all day. So
right.
Yeah, it's it's kind of a mirror of what happened last year. Only this time the Penske guys were the ones who got lucky instead of one of the Busch brothers. The kind of the reverse of fortunes, if you will.
Right. So let's talk about the Chase Elliott Joey Logano contact. Chase gets passed by Joey. Joey kind of chops him a little bit as he gets by. Joey says he passed him clean. It was clean for Bristol. And
I think it was clean. Yeah,
and then Chase comes in and makes the move on the inside and just cleans Joey out.
Couldn't stick it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Joey feels like he was done wrong, but I mean, Chase didn't do this intentionally, right? I mean, he just lost it.
He just lost it, yeah. He did try to say that maybe he thought he lost a tire, but he copped up to it there a few seconds later and was like, "Yeah, I just lost it." And that's fine. That's short track racing. It's that's the meme, right? That's the Denny Hamlin meme.
Yep.
And that's the the Joey Logano saying.
Yep.
You win some and you lose some.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, I wasn't ready on the cue. I was sleeping here.
That was good. No, I was trying to set you up, but I spoke too fast. So.
All right.
No, that's what it is, though. I mean, that's literally what it is. It's beating and banging, and you're trying to root around at the bottom. You gotta be, you gotta respect Chase Elliott for not giving in to Joey, and trying to make it stick. But at the end of the day, that's just a mess. That's just a mistake by Chase, and he'll hopefully learn from it and get him next time.
I've got to give some credit to Bristol Motor Speedway and the work that they've done there. They repaved the track and tried to fix something that wasn't broken and broke it. And then instead of, there was talk of ripping it up and putting it back the old way. And instead of going that direction, they've messed with it. They've worked on it, and they've got a good, I think maybe better than what we had before, because you can pass, you can battle, but you've got this thing where the low groove is good because of the PJ1. And the mid upper level lane is good because it's just good because of the banking. The top lane is terrible because it's ground, and the middle lane is bad because nobody runs there. So you have this thing where you've got two lines that converge coming out of the turns, and you slip up from the bottom, you mess up and get into the top line. It's just, I think all around it's a good setup they've got there finally. I mean,
it's a pair of tight ropes, right? I mean, that's what they've got.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we've almost got like double Bristol now. We get the high lane and the low lane, but they're still single line lanes.
My only gripe, and it's a very minimal gripe, is that I feel like the restarts are so unfair with the preferred groove.
Well, we
can
fix that, and we can talk about that. It's not in the notes, but I really think it's time to do the choose cone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just do it. There's so much talk for it. There's so many tracks that the high lane or the low lane is better. Let them choose, man. If they want to start,
orange stripe down. Yeah,
exactly. This
could be Austin Dillon's legacy.
Right. I mean, we've been choosing for the front spot ever since we started double file restart. So why don't we choose for the rest of it?
Right.
I don't get it.
I mean, you saw the pit road shenanigans again on Sunday, and Kyle Busch basically came to a dead stop at one point,
Somebody's
trying to stay.
Somebody's going to get a wreck, and then NASCAR is going to go, oh, yeah, maybe we should fix that.
Well, somebody's gonna go spinning into a pit crew at
Yep.
work is what's gonna end up happening at the end, and
Yep.
that's what's that's the kind of dangerous stuff that we just that like like I said, shenanigans. That's
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's
Well, I'm
goofing
sure
around.
what NASCAR will do though is they'll create a rule that if you stop, that you'll get penalized, but then it'll be a judgment call, and
Well, you need
We'll
a
have
minimum
to-
speed. You need a minimum speed penalty.
yeah, we'll have 5 different rules in place that make it worse
Yeah.
before we fix it, and just
Before you do the one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I had a quick question for you, Eric, really quick.
Yeah.
I posted this on Twitter. If Joey Logano and Chase Elliott flip-flop that pass at the end, what does NASCAR Twitter look like?
NASCAR Twitter loses its freaking mind.
Loses its mind.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was Joey instead of Chase, right?
Yep. Oh, 100%.
And Joey,
Joey
thing
came
is-
out looking like the villain on this, even though he was the
Again,
victim.
I know. And here's the thing.
I mean,
Joey's been-
I played the clip at the beginning of the show, and I played the Joey Logano one because it's funny, because we're making fun of
know.
Joey. I didn't pick the Chase Elliott one because it's the stupid thing he said, because he didn't say anything stupid.
Well, we've texted. I can't remember if I think Todd was in on this one too, but in our little message group that we have. But I said that Joey Logano and Kyle Busch, they have the same disease. They're just kind of weird.
Yeah.
And it comes across that way. And Joey, no matter what Joey does, he's never gonna win.
No.
And his whole career, it's gonna
Which
be the
is
same way.
so
Until,
funny because he's such a nice guy.
He's a nice guy, and here's the thing that people kind of gloss over. Most of the time when Joey gets into these situations, he's not in the wrong.
Right.
Like there's a lot of times and the thing is he's so supremely talented.
Yeah.
Versus, I mean, all these guys that he's gotten into skirmishes with are super talented. Matt Kenseth, Denny Hamlin, you go down the Kyle Busch down the line, but Joey is just as good, if not better than all of those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, he is one of those dudes. Like you think about the Matt Kenseth thing when Joey was 5 years younger at the point when he got in the Matt Kenseth skirmish at Kansas.
Right.
That basically cost him a championship. Joey Logano, I mean that whole thing, but he wasn't wrong at Kansas. And Matt Kenseth got super mad over hard racing. I mean, it was hard racing, but Joey didn't do anything.
Right.
That was wrong back then. But I think he's learned along the way too. He's had his black eye moments, and he's learned. But for the most part, he's been, I feel like on the right end of the spectrum.
Joey's going to be the
but
bad
no matter
guy
what
in
he's
every
like.
situation. no
Yeah,
matter
just like
what
Kyle
happens.
Busch.
Yeah.
It's just like Kyle Busch. You're gonna be the villain no matter what you do. It is what it is.
I think
Especially when you go up against Chase Elliott, who's the kind of the quote unquote golden boy right now.
I think Joey Logano could be in the Darrell Waltrip role when Darrell got spun by Rusty back at the All-Star race. And there is no situation where that happens that Joey gets the turn that Darrell did and becomes a fan favorite. It just doesn't happen.
Unless it's Kyle Busch.
No,
Unless
it's
him and
not even
Busch-
Kyle. Even we've had run-ins between the two.
That's true. I forgot. Yeah, the fight on pit road, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
had a
still
momentary
can't win.
lap. Yeah, I think people were kind of on his side a little bit, but yeah, you're right. He still can't win.
They just
Yeah,
forgot that
that's
Joey
hilarious.
was a part of it. They just
Even Denny Hamlin, who completely dumped Chase Elliott at Martinsville a couple years ago, came back around, but not Joey.
Right.
Not Joey. Yeah.
poor Joey.
Poor Joey. I mean,
How
golly.
much, James? How much did we miss the fans when that wreck happened?
Oh,
after the
man.
race.
Yeah, that would have been.
So here's
yeah,
the
if that
thing.
if that was a packed house, that would have been something.
Oh, my prediction is that would have been much more of a confrontation after the race had that place been packed, because the adrenaline from the fans cheering and booing, there would have been some fisticuffs on pit road.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad Chase Elliott got in his face and didn't let Alan Gustafson do it this time.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Well, I'll give I will give Joey some credit. Joey said in the interview, I can't remember who was in the clip that I played or not, but you saw him get out of the car. He looked down at Chase 3 or 4 times. Chase wouldn't make eye contact with him, and finally he's like, "Nah, I've had enough. I'm going down there to talk to him."
Good.
Yeah.
No, he did the right thing. Yeah.
He gave Chase a chance to come up and talk to him, and Chase
And they
didn't do
did.
it. And
They did.
exactly. So yeah, I missed the fans there. I think it would have been a lot more exciting with the fans.
Yeah, I think that moment would have been so much bigger if it was the other way around. Like it would have been the Kyle Busch, Dale Jr. Richmond type of thing, where people would have lost their minds. Which,
Well, it would have been Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott at Martinsville.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
I mean,
yeah,
it would have been the same thing.
Remember
Except
when,
that people hate Joey more than they hate Denny.
Right, right. And there's one moment I do want to point out with Joey on being on the right of the right side of these little skirmishes. When he moved Martin Truex Jr. at Martinsville in his championship season, I mean, that was a championship move back at that time. And I just feel like that kind of stuff gets forgotten with him so quickly because he's he's Joey. He is what he is.
Well, I mean, you won't hear any argument from me over the talent Joey Logano has. I think it's pretty safe to say you could just about go out on a limb and say maybe Kyle's the best we've got right now, Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
And I think Joey's not very far off of what Kyle.
Yeah, he's number 2. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, you're right.
Joey is certainly one of the top 5 best drivers in NASCAR right now, and if not top 2.
He's barely 30, I think. So
that's the thing too, is there's a lot of potential there still. Yeah. I mean, he's
got a long way to go. Yeah.
Yep. So we're gonna be dealing with Joey Logano for a while, unless he does a Carl Edwards thing or something. But
yeah, for sure. I don't think so either. I think he's set, man. He's got everything. Full sponsorship, good team.
Yeah. Yep. Good stuff. All right. Anything else for Bristol? Let me look at the results here. Austin Dillon, another good performance at Bristol for him. A 6th place finish.
Yeah, he's running sneaky good this season.
Yeah.
His average finish compared to some other guys, he's running fairly well. I mean, it's
the Chevys, man. Chevys are doing good.
Yeah, he's running good. I mean, like it's
put him in a good Chevy. Imagine what would happen.
Well, another top 10 guy, Bubba Wallace, continues to be good with his Chevrolet.
Chevy again.
Yep, overachieving.
Christopher Bell gets a top 10, so good for him.
Yep, Chris Bell was good.
Let's see here. Anybody else that stands out?
Jimmy Johnson continues to be doing well.
Yeah,
3rd place.
Yeah, Jimmy was the victim of the inside. If he wouldn't have been stuck on the inside and he was
leading, or he was right there late, not leading, but he was second.
He was second and got pushed back to 3rd, and then they restarted again, and then he got pushed back to 5th, and then they restarted again. Every restart he was on the inside, and if it wouldn't have been for that, Jimmy would have been racing for the win.
If you flip-flop a couple circumstances for Jimmy, he could have won that thing.
Yeah, he was coming at the end when the last caution happened. He wasn't going to get there, but he was coming. And not the last caution, but the one that started this whole rash of cautions at the end.
Yeah.
So, Clint Boyer finishes 2nd. Great for Clint. Again, lucked into it with the stuff that happened at the end, but still, good for him.
Yeah, he wanted it bad too. I liked his post-race interview. He was gritting his teeth and making a whole bunch of noise. So he wanted it.
Alex Bowman, who's been running so well, we've been real high on him, finished 37th. Tyler Reddick, 36th. Cole Custer, 35th.
Yeah, that was a big crash. That was a big crash.
The other one, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., ran really, really well and ends up in 34th. That same
deal.
He
got kind of dumped by Jimmy there.
Yeah.
That was a crash that wasn't actually his fault.
Yep. I know. It happens once in a while.
Yeah.
Everybody else kind of where you expect them. I mean, Chase and Joey finished mid-pack with their incident, but Martin Truex Jr., 20th, he was really not a factor.
No, never was. Yeah, Michael McDowell was right there for a top 5, top 10 finish for a minute, and then he got shoved back with some of those late cautions.
What happened to Denny? Because he ended up 17th. Didn't he have a sped or something?
He spun late. Yeah,
That's
he spun late. Yep.
So 131 laps led for Denny. So
he led the most on the day with all those suspensions as well. So battled through that to have a pretty good day.
Yeah.
Chase Elliott won both the stages. I think he's won a lot of stages already this season, so he's racking those extra playoff points up too.
Yeah. The other thing too that I do want to point out is we sit here and talk about how Brad, lucked into this, but Brad led 115 laps in the day 4 times during the race. He didn't completely luck into it. He lucked into the finish, but he was strong all day. So
yeah. Yep.
All right. I think we can leave Bristol in the rear view at this point.
Yeah. Can't wait for it to be in the playoffs, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I know it's going to be good stuff. My hope is that, if the low tier media is allowed back at the track then, because I'm still hoping to hit Bristol this year. So
nice.
We shall see. Michigan and Bristol are the 2 I'm looking at right now. We'll see what happens. And who knows, maybe something else in the playoffs if I can make it happen, but we'll see. Might save up for next year. See what happens there. Let's see. Let's talk some news, James. We don't have a whole lot, but we've got big news this week. Really big news to start things off. NASCAR, the Cup Series, is going to Nashville.
Yeah.
But not the way we wanted them to.
Not initially the way we wanted to. No.
Oh, I don't know about this, man. So if you guys have been out of the loop, which I can't imagine anybody's listened to this and doesn't already know this, but NASCAR announced they will return to Nashville next year for the Cup Series, but it will be Nashville Super Speedway, the Dover Motorsports owned concrete 1.5-mile track that hasn't had a NASCAR race since 2011?
2011, yeah. Yep.
Previously was in the Xfinity Series, possibly the Truck Series. I know ARCA raced
IndyCar.
there. IndyCar raced there. They quit racing there because the racing was awful. Because basically you have a 1.5-mile track, which 1.5 miles aren't great. It's made out of concrete, so it's bumpy as crap. The rubber doesn't stick. It's just, I don't know.
Might this play in our favor? Listen, you and I flipped roles here a little bit because I'm usually the poo-pooer.
I'm excited about a new track.
Well, here's the thing. That's where I'm going with this. So we've got the pros and cons of going to Nashville Super Speedway. Pro, NASCAR really is serious about the schedule changing.
Right. That's
a big pro. I mean, the fact that we're getting Nashville on the schedule is, I mean, come on. 3 or 4 years ago, no way. This is never happening again. This track was gone. So we're seeing movement there. One less Dover race. I'm pro because
I'm good with that.
we have enough.
If we could just rip the concrete up at Dover and put asphalt back down, I'd be all for Dover.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And another pro, NASCAR really wants this Nashville market.
Yeah.
And if this is the stopgap to getting the Fairgrounds Speedway going, then absolutely. I mean, do what you got to do to get it started, and then maybe we, move Nashville to where it should be. Because I agree with you, we should be at the fairgrounds and not here. But again, we're baby steps, right?
The good thing is at least NASCAR doesn't have a history of getting really obsessed with a certain area of the country, putting a ton of effort and money into racing there, and then abandoning the plan.
Right.
Folks in Seattle, New York City, never seen something like that. Chicagoland,
Yeah.
NASCAR's never done that before, so.
Never. Not once, no. No.
I don't know. I still, as much as I want Nashville Fairgrounds to happen so much, but I'm worried about a couple things. One is that it doesn't live up to the hype that everybody's putting on it. Which is very, very possible. And two is just that, I don't know, man, sometimes these old tracks, it's just not worth putting the effort into them when you could just build a new one, probably cheaper and easier. I mean, not that we're building racetracks, but man, I don't know. I'm 100% for Nashville Fairgrounds.
It's not the Roval announcement, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh.
I mean, it's a new track. Look,
Chase Elliott said it. Like, if Chase Elliott said one bad race at this place, will put a nail in the coffin, right? So
I was very much against Kentucky Speedway getting a race because I didn't think the Xfinity races at Kentucky Speedway were any good before the Cup Series went there. But I was still excited when they had their first race there, and it's neat to see them at a new track. Shoot, I was excited over New Hampshire back in the day when they started racing there. So
I'm excited to go back to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
It's been pretty good lately.
Right. So I'm excited about this edition. I'm excited that, like you said, NASCAR is making changes. There's, of course, we add a track to the schedule that it wasn't even on anybody's radar. And
we thought it was dead.
Immediately the first thing I say is, well, then that means Iowa's going to happen for sure, right? And then Bob Pocker says, well, if Iowa's going to happen, probably Gateway has a better chance before Iowa.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, well, now there's 2 more tracks that could potentially see a date.
Possibly.
So,
these tracks are it's moving around now, and these some of our legacy tracks are on 1-year agreements. Nashville gets 4.
Yeah.
With this deal, which should be noted that we're going to be doing this for at least 4 years. But who's to say? I mean, we go to races and markets twice a year. So could we have Nashville Super Speedway and the fairgrounds in a year or 2?
Right.
maybe.
And I think there's a lot of writing on the wall with this too, in that Dover gave up a race at one of their tracks to run this race.
Yeah.
I don't know that Dover's necessarily doing that just because they want to have a race at Nashville Super Speedway. I think it has more to do with the fact that Dover's getting pressure from NASCAR to eliminate the 2 races at Dover, and that might be a sign of other things to come across the schedule.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of pressure there.
If you're not running a doubleheader, don't expect us to come back to town.
There's a good chance here too that you're going to get more fans in the stands for a short pop of interest versus, Dover's legacy of 100+ races.
Right.
So yeah, we're going to get, I think I saw Nashville can seat 25,000, and then they could bring in additional seating based on interest. So
yeah,
I think that's that's probably what the right size.
They're pulling grandstands out of enough tracks. They should be able to take some of those grandstands and move them to Nashville, right?
Well, yeah, I think 25 to 35,000 fans. I think that I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's where
that's 25 to 30,000 more fans than we have had the last 3 weekends.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, and you think about like some of your high-profile sporting events. I mean, that's what they put into baseball, and I mean that's more than they put into baseball, basketball, hockey arenas. It's still pretty good. It's not It's not the NFL number, but that's a decent amount of fans. Not compared to where we were, when we were doing hundreds of thousands. But
nothing's where we were back then in 2005.
No, I stumbled across. So we are getting our baby's room ready, and we were using it for storage, right? And I'm looking through old photo albums, and I stumbled across an old picture from MIS when they had the seating starting in turn 3 going all the way through turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it's ridiculous looking back at. I mean, I can't believe I was there for that. Now thinking about it now, it's crazy.
First of all, it's really weird to see any pictures of groups of people together right now.
Well, I do that with TV shows. Like I'll be watching a TV show now, and I'll be like, "Why are you guys so close? Why are you in that room? Get out of there!" It's like a horror movie every time you turn on a show.
Yeah,
it's shocking. Still shocks me every time.
Yeah. So speaking of fans, James, it's a good transition into our next news item. We found out today that Indy will not have fans for the IndyCar and NASCAR 4th of July doubleheader weekend. There had been speculation that they may allow that, but I think they're limited at 250 right now for crowds currently in Indiana. So just wasn't going to make it work.
The timeline looks like it would be too. I mean, it's a month away from today. Right. So
yeah, you'd have to make the decision now.
Yeah, you could have put pockets of people at Indy, but it's not easy.
There's so much to it.
Road course race.
There's more to it than just the seating too, in that you've got restrooms, you've got concession stands. There's other areas that people gather that you just want to avoid that.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I think right now is at this point, it's just it's precautionary. We don't want to be the one that screws this up.
Yes.
So they're all going to be careful. We're going to probably do this longer than is necessary to be safe. And that's the right way to do it. It just is. As a person who's disappointed they're not at the track. My first race weekend is coming up. This weekend supposed to be Michigan? Yeah, Atlanta. Atlanta was supposed to be Michigan. I mean, that would have been my first weekend at the track this year, is this upcoming weekend. So, I'm disappointed about it, but better safe than sorry. Let's do this right and make sure that we're on the right track. So
yeah, exactly. Extra caution when needed.
Yep.
Is always good. So yes.
We also we hinted at it earlier in the show, and you guys have likely read the news already, but we got our next schedule update from NASCAR. Announced through beginning of August now. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. There's an image and a link in the show notes to the updated schedule at thesuperspeedway.com. You can check that out. But some notable things here. So we already talked about Pocono, the doubleheader with the Cup Series will be without fans. Indy without fans. Kentucky is the next race, so we'll see what happens with Kentucky. Still talk from NASCAR potentially to have fans in the seats sometime in June, but I don't see it happening. We'll see.
Talladega was rumored, yeah.
Yeah. So a couple things of note. I believe when we first got the schedule, or when they were talking about the schedule, there was an ARCA race at Charlotte that first week that was then postponed. Well, we found out why. They've moved the ARCA race to the same day as the All-Star race at Charlotte, July 15th. It's a Wednesday night for the All-Star race. Back at Charlotte, as we said, but I think, I mean, this is
perfect.
This is the future for the All-Star race, right? It's going to be a weeknight
Yeah, you got to
show.
do it midweek. Yep, short show. That's
Yep.
what people want. Hour and a half max for the All-Star race. I mean, if you want to watch more, you watch the Open, things like that. But yeah,
Right.
it's perfect.
Yeah,
Yep.
I kind of figure this is the end game. This is what we're going to see.
It looks like it. And I was going to say real quick, Eric, forecasting for next year, Dover announced their dates for possibly for 2021.
Okay.
And looks like they're going to be pushing into All-Star weekend, kind of looking like you're correct. This is going to be a midweek. We're going to sneak these All-Star races in midweek moving forward.
This is the only advantage to having the All-Star race at Charlotte is that it's right in the backyard of all these teams. They can easily drop in there, do it quick, and be done.
Yep, exactly. One day show, in and out.
I understand the need to compress things this year, but that is one thing NASCAR is going to have to consider when they decide to compress the schedule next year when we aren't dealing with coronavirus is that, I mean, Mother Nature's already shown us what happened. We had one race rain delayed, and it screwed up another race at the next track, pushed it back 2 days because of the way the schedule is compressed. So
it's easy to move things around when there's no fans coming to the show.
Exactly.
It
Well,
makes
it's easy
things
to
a
push
little bit more
races
fun.
up and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to do that when you have people coming to the track. So,
Yeah, and one more interesting thing on this schedule announcement too. We haven't seen this in over a decade. We're going to have intermingling TV carriers for the sets for the races coming up. We're going to be going from FS1 to NBC back to FS1. We're going to be bouncing around with our where to find your races for a little bit.
Pretty interesting. The other interesting, so here's an interesting note that I found in this, and I don't know why we're doing it, but at Kansas, we are running the Cup race on Thursday, and then Friday the trucks and ARCA, Saturday the trucks and Xfinity. Why are we not running the Cup race on Sunday?
TV.
Is that what's on TV on Sunday the 26th?
I don't know, but
it's really interesting. It's
backwards.
Yeah, you don't normally have the big show before everything else. It's very unusual. So,
I don't have an explanation for. I guess we should. I mean, tweet at Bob.
Right.
Bob would probably know.
Yeah, Bob probably knows.
Well, I mean, it gives NASCAR another shot at a primetime slot. It's a 7:30 p.m. start for Kansas. I don't know. Maybe it's Eric. Maybe it's because of social distancing a little bit, where you get the NASCAR Cup guys in and out, and that's the big circus.
Maybe.
And then maybe you got the other. You can trickle the other series in. Because the trucks are doing 2-day show.
Right.
2 races,
But
Friday and
there's
Saturday.
nothing scheduled Sunday. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I would think that it's possibly a social distancing thing where you have so many team. I mean, you're getting all the series in there. ARCA's going too, so. But I mean, they're not doing it at Pocono either, so I don't know. I don't know.
Another thing of note: the races are all standard length at this point now, other than Pocono, which is reduced for the doubleheader. But otherwise, we're at 400 miles, 500 miles for all the races.
Yeah, and those Pocono races were as scheduled. They are the distance are as scheduled.
Another thing of note is some of the Xfinity, or well, at least one of the Xfinity races was realigned, or a couple of these races were realigned.
The truck race was realigned too, making up for the Iowa and Chicago cancellations.
Right. The Xfinity race, Kentucky realigned from New Hampshire, except that there would have been already an Xfinity race at Kentucky, so I don't understand that. Unless they didn't get rid of the Xfinity race at Kentucky this year originally, did they?
No, they added one.
Oh, that's right.
There's a Thursday and Friday Kentucky races.
That's right.
Pulling from those lost dates.
That's right. I got you.
It's the same thing with Kansas Speedway. The Truck Series isn't racing in Chicagoland, I believe is what it's replacing. So yes,
I gotcha. And then the August 2nd New Hampshire race is just Cup race. There's
That's
no
just Cup.
supporting series that weekend.
I am looking forward to that one. I like New Hampshire now. I love it when these tracks lose a date because for some reason they get better.
Yeah.
I don't know why. New Hampshire's been good. So,
of course, nothing announced as far as practice qualifying or anything like that. I don't believe yet.
I don't think so. Not yet. No.
So we'll see what happens there. I would be in favor of giving them an hour of practice and qualify, and that's it. I'd like to see nothing more than that, but we'll see what NASCAR decides.
Just give them an hour of practice, and whatever your top practice time is your qualifying time. I mean, that would eliminate some track time. I know we've gone away from group qualifying for many reasons, but that's just an option. I don't know.
Or just
I like less practice time. I think it's led to decent racing.
I really like the inverted field for qualifying, so
that's been good. Yeah. Yep. I like that too.
I wish we could keep that up. Anything else NASCAR news, James? I think that covers everything
now. Been we've been in a bit of a hurry, but it seems like we've got one race and one race coming up, so that's balances out our show a little bit. But yeah, we've been a little bit late. I think the rest of this week.
A couple other things, not NASCAR related, but motorsports related. IndyCar comes back this weekend at Texas Motor Speedway. They'll be back racing, or they're actually back racing. They'll start their season at Texas Motor Speedway. And Supercross resumed this past weekend.
Yeah.
So we race Sunday and then Wednesday for Supercross, and that's what they're doing, Sunday and Wednesday for the next couple of weeks to finish out the remaining. We just ran round 12 of 17 that will run for Supercross, to all finishing up Rice Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah. So.
Yep.
So yeah, Supercross will be butting up against NASCAR on Sundays. I'll have to make that decision, which won't be tough. I'll be watching NASCAR and Supercross delayed, but anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. It's good, man.
Yeah, so there's lots of stuff to watch now. It's like I was up late last night watching Supercross. 1:00 in the morning, it was done.
We got some late models coming to Eldora.
Yeah.
So I saw that's coming up. I don't have the date in front of me, but I know that's coming up. You can stream it,
and that's been good. They're fanless right now still as well.
Yep, the Outlaws and the All-Star Circus of Champions have been running pretty consistently, so that's been good.
Yep, stuff's getting back now. We just need to get some people in the stands. Some stuff's open up here around Michigan. Some of the local tracks have already been racing in areas that are opened up. The areas that are not open up are all taking different interpretations of what was opened and what wasn't to decide whether they're racing or not. It's been interesting. So, I mean, hopefully the trend continues down and we can get stuff back going. My big hope is that eventually we can stop wearing masks. I freaking hate them.
Oh, I know. They're terrible.
Hate them with a passion, but I'll wear it. I'll do what I'm supposed to do. I tend to try and avoid places that I have to wear them so I don't have to wear one, but there's some nice masks that the teams have for NASCAR, though. There's a few of them that I wouldn't mind sneaking one off the pit box or something.
There you go. Yeah. Put it on right away, too. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah, right? And one of the ones that says Penske on it or something.
Yeah. Eric Almirola, he blasted Smithfield across his. I saw that one. I was like, holy cow, that's a lot of text on that one.
I was really disappointed because we talked. I don't remember if it was on the podcast or off about the Penske ones when they returned at Darlington, and how nice they looked. And then they had white ones, and the white ones were terrible. The black ones looked nice. The white ones looked terrible.
Well, Penske's, they always do the white shirts and everything, so they're as clean as can be at all times.
Yep. All right. Well, we go to Atlanta Motor Speedway this weekend, James, and it's kind of like, it feels almost like deja vu because we already did this once. We already previewed this race. We already made picks for this race. So we're gonna pretend we didn't pick for this race. We're gonna do our picks, and then we're going to look back at what the picks were. I know one driver that was picked. I don't remember if it was you or me that picked him. But that's it. That's all I saw when I opened up the old show notes. So, first of all, before we go to Atlanta, we need to talk about Bristol, and we split the weekend at Bristol. James picked Kyle Busch as his pick to win. I picked Chase Elliott. I was looking really good until 3 to go, and James gets the win on that one, so he got a point. And then Dark Horse, John Hunter Nemechek was my pick with 13th. Tyler Reddick was James's pick in 36th. So I got the point there. I'm up 10-9 after 8 races over James.
Yep,
So
you almost got that bonus, that pick a winner bonus, but not Chase with one slide cost you 2 points basically.
This shows that we both suck at this. 8 races in, we've had one winner's point given out, and that was for James.
Yes.
So
yep.
Other than that, James picked the winner once.
It's not going to happen often. I'll tell you that for sure.
1 for 8, we've picked a winner. So, all right, we go to Atlanta this weekend. I get the first pick, and I feel like I'm a little skewed. You know what? I'm not going to go. I don't know. Hold on. Let me think. Got to think about this one.
Yeah, it's a big one, man. You got the first pick now.
I know. You know, I'm just gonna. You can't. Even though I'm just gonna pick. I'm picking Kevin Harvick at Atlanta. It's Atlanta. Kevin Harvick. He's the one to pick. This was probably my pick at the beginning of the season too. This was not the one that one of us picked. So
nice. Yeah, I was hoping to. I don't know. I was kind of hoping to possibly get my hands on Kevin Harvick, but you took him. So that's okay.
You're gonna pick the one that was picked, and I double checked just now, and I did pick Kevin Harvick in the.
Oh, nice.
Earlier.
Nice. I will go with the hometown boy. I'll take Chase.
Oh, okay.
I'll go a little bit off the grid.
Chase Elliott has the best average finish at Atlanta Motor Speedway, but does not have a win there. But he's always run well there ever since. I mean, he's only run 4 races there, but he's run well there. Eric Jones, another good one. Good average finish for Eric.
Yeah, I like the speed of the car, and I'll take Chase Elliott when it's hot and slick too.
Yeah.
To see if he can sling that bad boy around. Although I like Kevin Harvick here. I feel like I think you've got a stronger of the two.
Harvick's interesting because he's run really, really well here, but his average finish is down quite a bit. But he's run 29 races here too.
Over the last 3 races, though, he's a 4.7. The guy we're leaving off the board has 2 wins in the last 3 races. That's Brad Keselowski.
Yes.
He kind of lucked into that one last year too, if I remember correctly. So he's definitely good at that.
Yeah. Another couple other ones to note. Matt Kenseth runs well here. He's got a good average finish. Jimmy Johnson also. Jimmy obviously has been running really well lately, so he'd be a good pick. I mean, Kyle Busch is a good pick anywhere. Kurt Busch also is good here. So
Boyer is good here too. I think he's going to be sneaky good, especially the way he ran at Darlington. I think he might be a little bit more of a factor than we would normally consider.
Yeah, I agree with that. James, you get the first dark horse.
Oh boy. Daniel Suarez has a good history here, but I can't pick him in that car.
Don't do that, man. I already did that.
No, not in that car. I don't know if he can. I don't know. Well, so I want to see more from Daniel Suarez. Oh man.
So let me before you make this pick, let's create a new rule for the dark horse, okay? Because
I was going to ask.
Right now, we're in a tough position with the dark horse because we have 2 drivers right now that are classified as dark horses, I guess, technically, that probably shouldn't be. So we could just go back and forth and pick both of them every week. We could pick William Byron and Matt DiBenedetto and just be done. So let's
off last week. I believe we're saying I don't know if we can pick them anymore.
Yeah, I think we need to make this needs to be somebody we're not really expecting to win. This is somebody that needs to be a good finish. Who's going to run well here?
Because there's points at stake now, Eric. You put the cuffs on me for that.
Right. I mean, do you agree with that? Does that make sense?
Right. So with that being said, I will take. I agree. Absolutely. Okay. I'm going to go with somebody who's got a little bit of race experience here versus a rookie. I'll take Bubba.
Bubba's
not a storied history. Not a storied history here, but the way he's been running this season, I would like to see that. Like to see him in possibly a top 15, top 20 situation.
Okay. I go and made that stipulation. Now I don't know who I'm going to pick because.
Yeah.
I
still like guys. Just maybe to forecast for you a little bit. I'm like Chris Bell, Tyler Reddick, Heck, I don't know if Austin Dillon counts, but guys like that are going to be probably pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, let's see, points are on the line. I'm going to go with Chris Buescher. I don't really have a good reason for Chris Buescher, but I'm going to go that route. So
I like that. That's the thing is, like, I picked Bubba. You got to pick a guy who can beat Bubba.
Right.
Chris Buescher, that's a possibility. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, depending on the day, anybody can beat Bubba because you never know what's going to happen with that team. All right. Anything else to do with picks there, James? I think, does that cover us?
I think we're good, man.
All right.
We're good.
There's probably no point in talking about the fantasy league, right?
Well, our new guy, Jay won, and he's come out of nowhere. Dude's like trying to sneak in and dominate the league.
Right.
I am mad at NASCAR fantasy. I picked my roster and I picked
you got screwed, didn't you?
Well, here's the thing. I think NASCAR saved me from myself because I ended up third this week behind Ranger, and there's no explanation. I had last week's lineup in there, and I didn't get any of the bonus points. But to be fair to NASCAR.com, I wouldn't have gotten any anyway. So, still, come on. I picked my lineup. I should have earned only 100 points or whatever. I don't know.
That happened to me last year a couple times when I forgot to pick. I ended up doing really well, and that just goes to show you how little.
It's ridiculous.
This whole thing is stupid, except for Ranger, who is good every week.
Yeah, Ranger's always good. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he'll tweet at us and give us some help. I don't know. Overall, our buddy Freight Train is in first, and Ranger is in second. Denny the Many, then myself, then Justin713, the KB Show, Barron Speedway, Toyota Fan, and Jay Wint. Man, it's coming on strong. But that's week's winner.
I won't hide from myself. I finished 8th this week. Thank goodness for Barron Speedway is the only one who was worse than me, so I didn't finish last.
Yes, good.
It was terrible. Terrible.
Yep.
So bad. Fantasy's stupid.
It is. No, it is. It's dumb. I hate it, but it's fine. We do it for fun. It's like golf.
Right. Yeah. So we had a technical difficulty that you guys don't know about because I edited it out of the show. But during that technical difficulty, James and I were arguing over who was going to take the pick there, the shout out this week. Did we come to a conclusion? Are you taking it?
I'll take Eric's plug on the Dale Jr. download. Just an important episode this week. He's got Bubba Wallace on, and with everything going on in this country, it's worth a listen and give it a fair shake. Dale Jr.'s got a good message, and obviously Bubba Wallace has taken kind of a leadership role with everything we've got going on. We don't have to get into any of it, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Proud of Bubba for stepping up. I mean, he's showing he's showing a lot of growth from a guy who lost a sponsor on an iRacing game to, I mean, egg on the face of Blue Emu a little bit because this dude has had a heck of a week as a leader, and just pretty cool to see. That's all.
To piggyback on that, NASCAR put on their YouTube page yesterday the discussion between Bubba Wallace and Ty Dillon on the whole issue as well. I'll admit I have not watched either of them yet. They're both in my watch list to check out, but I haven't had a chance to listen to either of them. But my understanding is the Ty Dillon Bubba Wallace discussion was really good too. I think it was on Instagram or something like that. And so
it was.
NASCAR posted that on their YouTube page. And I guess I'll steal this as my shout out. See, I told you I'd come up with something.
Yeah, you always do.
The NASCAR YouTube page, we've talked about it before. It's great page. There's a video right next to that. NASCAR Chasm presents your guide to all the sounds that come from the Dawsonville pool room.
That's awesome.
So that's probably worth a watch. But the thing that I'm most excited about that I will definitely be clicking on and watching is 6 hours ago as we're recording this, they posted the 1986 Winston Western 500 from Riverside International Raceway.
Oh, that's good stuff, yeah.
Riverside was such a good track, man. If you guys want a great road course, a great NASCAR road course, Riverside is the best. Such a great track.
Look up Tim Richmond highlights from there because that dude wheeled it there. And Dale Earnhardt had some interesting stuff happen there too, where he was cutting corners and stuff, which is always fun to see. But yeah, Tim Richmond could wheel it at Riverside.
This place was just, if you've never seen any video of Riverside, again, it's a NASCAR road course. And I mean, it wasn't. I think they raced all kinds of stuff there, but just perfect style for NASCAR, especially NASCAR in the 80s. I remember watching the last race. I remember they had the bulldozers like lined up at the track ready to tear it down as soon as the checkered flag came out. There's a mall there now, and it's such a bummer that we lost Riverside because it's just an awesome place. Awesome place.
Yeah.
So check that
Good
out.
deal. Good shout out. One more thing too, Radioactive from the Daytona 500.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you did. I was going to
released
do that too. Yeah.
Yep. They didn't release it because of the Ryan Newman stuff, and I think that was probably a pretty good call. But yeah, I checked in. It was good. It's good.
9 minutes and 35 seconds long for that one. That's long for the Radioactive.
It's a long one, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll probably check that out as soon as I post this episode. So, no, I'm glad you mentioned it. That was actually going to be my shout out. I forgot.
Yeah. Good. I took 2 of your shout outs tonight.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you guys a little inside look at the podcast. So I've joked about the fact that the show notes pretty much are Jayski's website. The audio clips at the beginning are generally the NASCAR YouTube channel, just so you know.
There you go.
So that's my first look for a source. If I don't have a clip from somewhere else, is to go to NASCAR's YouTube page and see if they have an audio clip that I can use. So with that, James, where can they find you on social media if they want to chat with you during the week?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me on Twitter at T Super Speedway, not the Super Speedway, at T Super Speedway. See, I changed up the way I said it and screwed it all up, James.
You did. You ruined it.
Yeah.
It's your own fault.
You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is www.thesuperspeedway.com. You can check out past episodes of the show. Links, show notes are up there. Links to all the articles we discussed. Past coverage of races, photos, old interviews with other people, all that stuff. Check it out, thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on there as well. Also find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud, wherever you found us today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen. And if you want to become a part of the show, help us get to the track, help support the show, you can do so at Patreon. Going to patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. Kind of a normal weekend this weekend for the most part. We get a doubleheader with the Xfinity and Truck Series on Saturday. The Cup Series races 500 miles at probably the best track surface in all of NASCAR right now at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Hopefully the later in the year start will give us better weather at Atlanta than we've had historically, since they've messed with this date on and off for several years. So we'll go to Atlanta this week. We will be back next week to discuss the race and preview the next one, whatever the heck that is. I've lost track of the schedule, James. I don't know. I know we just talked about it, but I don't know where we're going next. But Atlanta this weekend, that's all I care about. We'll be back next week to discuss it. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.